What's poppin', y'all? It's finally happening. The other day, well, not just the other day, but in the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of discussion around AI and music, particularly hip hop. That's where we're talking about it. And this was a moment where I think things began to shift. So a couple of days ago, Timberland posted a monologue as well as a snippet of a song he was working on. So I'll just play his talk for you guys first. I don't know if I'll be able to play the music. If it plays, it plays. If it doesn't, it doesn't play. Can't really do anything about that. But I'm going to play that clip for you guys. It's also on my Instagram, at helloyassine, if you can't see it here.
All right, so I'm sitting here with my brother, Creative God. And we know that there's a lot of talk about AI. We know how the feelings of violating certain things. But let me tell you something. I got a solution. I'm working on it. It's going to be beneficial to everybody. But in the meantime, I got to share something I've been working on because I always wanted to do this and I never got a chance to. I always wanted to work with B.I.G and I never got a chance to until today. It came out right. Play.
Breathe, not a pen, but I keep the trick up my sleeve. Roll my trigger, fuck around and get your big seed. Got her in my palm, she won't be my man's please. Look up, cheese, it ain't obvious in me. Keep all my gold so glowing when I'm grinning. 14 carats on my canine, that's my shimmy. Garbage rappers dropping trash, that's what I am mixing. Her man don't give a gift, she said it's not giving. If you wanna smoke, I gotta keep a hot chimney. See how it pop smoke, young dog pot Nipsey. I'm not an anthem.
Okay, so basically, Timberland produced a beat. Timberland, legendary producer for maybe people younger that aren't familiar with him. He's produced some of the biggest hits of the 2000s. And the more important part is that he's a very beloved producer as well. So it's not like people hate him. There are certain people within music that are villains, and if they did something like this, I don't believe they would receive the same reception. So Timberland uses or trains Biggie's voice from, of course, all of the music that's been released, interviews, etc. And I believe he probably wrote the track too, made the beat, and made a song with Biggie's voice. Now, he hasn't released this yet. Really, the only people that would have to clear this would be Biggie's estate. This wouldn't have anything to do with Diddy, because Diddy doesn't own Biggie's voice. He just owns his catalog, which could be a positive thing for families as well. But back to my main point is that people have been embracing this. Some people have said, yo, this is wrong. He's dead, or whatever. You get the whole people that are like, man, just let him rest, bro, which is the same people that correct spelling mistakes for teachers when they know exactly what the teacher was trying to say. So these people are always a nuisance, and they don't contribute to the discussion whatsoever. But people were showing support. Some people gave legitimate criticisms in terms of, hey, if this gets released, I hope he gets paid, or I hope the family gets paid, which they definitely would be compensated. Otherwise, they'd be able to take it down. And then there's also the part where people enjoyed the song. People were like, yo, this is kind of hard. I really enjoy this. So they like the product, which I said would be the most important thing. They like the individual that's working on said product, which I also said is an important factor. If 6ix9ine was doing this, or who's a producer that people hate, actually? Because producers would have more fun with this than actual artists. I don't know. I can't really think of a producer that's widely hated. For the most part, they may be hated behind the scenes, but producers, in large part, if their brand is big enough that most people know them, they tend to like them as well, just because they stay out of the way, and we don't really know what they're like personally. So I think producers would enjoy this more, because they just get to have more fun. They don't need to have someone in the studio to have vocals done. They can work with a bunch of different artists' vocals that they enjoy. Now, they don't have to put out these tracks. That's something completely different. But I believe it's fun. If I was a producer, I would enjoy doing that. But I think Timberland is not only having fun with this, but he made one of his dreams come true. So what if someone's a producer and they've always wanted to work with somebody and it was never able to happen? Now, he can make that dream happen. The question is, though, does the voice go to the family? Because in the case where I referenced it in the main AI video on the main channel, I'll link it in the pinned comment below. In that video, the woman sued on damages based on her voice being used, or a rendition of her voice. It wasn't her exact voice, but it basically said the individual owns their voice. Now, if that person passes away, does their family owned their voice. The record label can't own their voice. We know that for sure. So that's something where I wonder who has to get it approved. And perhaps that's what Timberland is going through right now. But where do you guys see this going? For me, I can see certain people working with... Okay, let me propose another question, actually. Let's say one of Juice WRLD's... Well, Juice WRLD has plenty of music. Let's say XXXTentacion, right? Or maybe even Lil Peep or something. If the producers that worked with them while they were coming up or while they were making a ton of music, let's say their estate wants to release more music. So X's producers or X's mom, they get together. They're like, hey, let's put out an X album. We really didn't get to... They released a bunch of garbage because XXX had a bunch of unfinished music. So if they were like, hey, let's write some good songs, the producer contributes to some of the writing because they knew him personally, and they create some great songs. How would you guys feel about that? I really want to know your answer, because I think people may feel a certain type of way at first, like just a little bit of a, not a chuckle, but like a jolt, like, but if the song is good, I can't see them being against it, because we're never really getting new XXX music, and I don't think we need new XXX music. I personally don't. I think his first two albums and then the loose SoundCloud stuff before that, I think that's perfectly fine to satiate me for the rest of my life. I said the same thing about Lil Uzi Vert. But when he's such a big name and such a big brand and such a big voice, I do think that his estate and those around him would be valuable. And if you would allow that, let's say you heard out this proposal and you're like, yeah, I would be fine with that as a fan. Now, where does it end? So if it's a random producer that never worked with him, do you feel wrong about it at that point? Because I think a lot of us can agree when Dua Lipa was put on a song with Pop Smoke, we just all looked at that like, what the hell are you doing? Especially when Pop Smoke's got certain lyrics and Dua Lipa pretty much threw DaBaby under the bus for saying certain stuff that were pretty much the same thing as Pop Smoke lyrics. So clearly Dua Lipa doesn't align with Pop Smoke at all. But after Pop Smoke passed away, they threw her on a song with him. So I think that's a situation where we can all throw our hands up like, yo, what the hell are y'all doing? And I think as time goes on, the fans and the family are going to have to dictate what is too far. So if you accept that his close circle of producers and people that worked with him on music, let's say just for Mac Miller too, although he kind of produced a lot of his stuff, but deceased artists that are wildly popular and have a high demand outside of their close circle, if you're approved of the close circle, how far away from the circle of producers and, let's say, writers are you willing to go before you feel like it shouldn't be allowed? Now, I don't think there's actual legal reasons, because if the estate approves it and it happens and they release it, there's nothing you can do about it. But I do think those are two different perceptions that people will have. Same thing for posthumous albums. For example, people enjoyed the Mac Miller posthumous album, but sometimes people say, hey, I don't want... You're milking somebody by releasing a posthumous album by them. So it's flip-floppy. And I really just think it's in the manner that the posthumous album is released and depending on the music that was available at the time. I think this is great. It's going to cause a lot of discussion, conversations that we've never had, we've never thought we would have, but they're moving quickly. Timberland is the first producer that I've seen come out publicly with this. I think this is only the beginning. I think there'll be more. I believe it'll start with producers working with deceased artist voices, because let's say a producer is popular and they use another popular artist's voice, but they put it out in public, that we don't know how that artist would react. So if that artist reacts negatively, then it can look bad on the producer's image, which they don't want. Or if the artist is alive, the producer, if he can't get them, then the artist probably doesn't even want to be used in any type of way on one of their beats, especially out in public, I'm saying. As for my opinion, in case anybody cares about it, I really can't formulate an opinion on the song, the B.I.G song or snippet by Timberland so far. It's hard to hear, you hear it in the background. It sounds like the flow sounds good. A lot of people were saying Rick Ross, which I get, but I enjoyed what I heard, but it wasn't clear enough for me to be like, yo, this is hard. And we just heard like a small snippet, but it looked like the foundation was there for what could end up being a good song. Whoever moves first on this we're going to see a lot of conversation created from it, and I can't wait to take part of that. So let me know what y'all think in the comments below, especially on the situation where I was saying deceased artist, close producers / team. Would you be willing to accept, or would you support, actually, not accept, support that they create new music for the artist with their voice? And if you do accept that, how far are you willing to go? Like, can a super producer work on their voice, or no, if they didn't know them, then that's not cool? Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.